ads work when you can't, don't, or won't. So, like for someone like me, I struggle with consistency. But here's the thing, no matter what I do personally in terms of organic social, my ads are always running. So I'm technically always putting social content out that is guaranteed to be seen.
Zach Spuckler is the founder of Heart, Soul, and Hustle and the host of the Not Your Average Online Marketing podcast. As a marketing strategist and a launch expert, he's helped tens of thousands of entrepreneurs scale their businesses with proven, results-driven strategies. With a knack for crafting high-converting challenge launches, evergreen sales systems, and profitable paid ad strategies, Zach has generated millions in revenue for both himself and his clients. Through his consultancy, agency, and membership, Zach has worked with brands and entrepreneurs at all levels, whether they're launching for the first time or optimizing seven-figure funnels. He's well known for his transparent marketing reports and updates, and has an understanding of what truly moves the needle in digital marketing from his decade in the online space. Zach is the first person who I learned about Facebook ads from, and it was his simple teaching style and way of breaking it down that made something that felt really foreign and uncomfortable that I'd never done before, not only achievable, but something that my business truly couldn't live without. And I'm so excited to share this conversation with you today. Hi, Zach. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I am so stoked to be here.
So can you just start by telling us a little bit about what brings you to what you're doing today and a little bit of your journey as the amazing marketing person that you are?
Sure. So my name is Zach Spuckler. My company is Heart, Soul, and Hustle, and we are a small Facebook and Instagram ads agency and consultancy. And then we also have a membership arm of our business where we help people in like a one-to-many capacity grow their online business with Facebook and Instagram ads. And the way that I got here is really I had a food blog 11 or 12 years ago. And this was like way back when you could like blog and do organic and like do all these crazy things. And they worked. And after doing that for a couple years, the blog actually really started to blow up. And I started finding myself really more obsessed with marketing the blog than making the content for the blog. And I was like, maybe there's something to this marketing thing. And I won't bore you with like a really long story, but essentially it just kind of naturally evolved into like people saying like, how are you growing the blog? And how are you getting clients from, talking about how it's growing the blog? And it just naturally evolved to the point where we've done multiple courses that have gone to six figures or multiple six figures. We have a membership that we've been running for about 4 years now, and we just love marketing. And so I always like to mention that because I think so many people think that marketing is easier than like other niches. And so people just do B2B marketing. And it's like, I actually really nerd out about this stuff. So that's how we got here. And now I just geek out on marketing, experiment, have fun, and share with other people the kind of results we're getting and how they can get them too.
I don't know, marketing has gotten such a bad name in the online business space
Yes.
because of the dude bros, let's face it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I love the way your approach to it. I love that you bring heart to it, but you also work really hard. You're one of my favorite people to follow, and you're definitely the person I always recommend to learn ads from because you make it so simple. But what I really love about your business is that you have created something that really supports your lifestyle to travel.
Yes.
To be on holidays and to have your business be not just being fine while you're away, but also to be thriving and growing in that time as well.
Yeah, and I love when people ask about this or talk about this because I will admit that my husband and I, we travel a lot, like way more. He keeps saying like, I'm like, where do you want to go on vacation next? He's like, bed. I want to be in bed for a week. I don't want to get on a plane. So spoiled. But the cool thing about it is like, I think people have this perception, especially with our business, that like I just unplug and I do nothing and I like sit on the beach and the business grows. And we've actually found a really happy medium where I've absolutely taken, a week off where I don't do much of anything. But typically, even when I'm on holiday, I check in on my business a couple times a week, maybe a few times a week. But I keep telling people like, I think there's this perception, especially because in the Two Bros, like you get on the private plane and you like go to the island, you go to the Maldives and you do nothing, and then you just make all this money. And like really, I do a lot of work to be offline for a week. And then I check in a couple times a day. I have an incredible team that keeps things running. And, I know I'm sure we'll get into this, but like I always tell people, passive income, as it were, is like a result of really active and proactive work. And so, yeah, the business that we have absolutely supports my lifestyle. Like, I'd be lying if I said we haven't done some really cool stuff. We spent 3 weeks in Paris and London last year. We're going on a couple cruises this year. I think we're going back to Europe. Our goal is in 2026. So, like, yeah, I've done some really amazing things. And I also like really do hustle to make that to make that happen. It's not this effortless thing that everybody likes to sell online, but it's worth it.
Yeah, I love that you found like a good, combination of how to do that. And
Yeah.
I talk about the seasons of visibility, and I think like you do have to put a bit in your summer phase in order to get to the point where you can take a bit of a break offline as well and make
Yeah.
that work. It's not just about this idea of like exponential growth, hustle all the time. It's actually
100%.
like seasonal and cyclical so that you can make it work with the lifestyle that you want as well.
Yes, and it's so interesting you put it that way, cyclical, because we are like that's really how we think about our advertising is in cycles, especially like monthly or quarterly cycles. So like we every quarter we're always growing our email list with ads, and then once a quarter we go into like a very intensive launch phase. That's where we're at right now recording this interview. I'm doing like admittedly 10-hour days, 3 or 4 days a week, and then I do take 1 or 2 day like half days because the 10-hour day is really intense. Love it. But it is a little bit of a grind. And then we go into a 5 day challenge, which is like literally will be 10-hour days for 5 days straight. And then like for the 3 weeks after, like I can see the empty calendar coming and I'm so excited for it.
I love that so much. Yeah, I think that gives so much perspective to the fact that when you're watching people online and following them, that you think that they have this, you just have this perception of what their life is like. And so I love that you just talk about how, like, yes, I work really hard to be able to take that time off. And
Yeah.
sometimes it's big stuff and sometimes it's blank calendar. And that's really cool.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about ads because a lot of the people who are listening are more introverted, highly sensitive, solopreneurs, so don't have a team, maybe don't have the money to invest in an agency. And you're someone, like I said, who I just learned about ads. And I really think that in the most simple way, that's also the most effective because it can feel really scary, I think, to put money behind your business in that way. Like people are, getting to the point where they're fine with working with coaches and paying for programs, but there's something about advertising and putting money into that
Yeah.
gives this other like next level of visibility that I think people get
Yes.
nervous about, and also backing yourself and your work by putting money behind it in that way. Can you share with us a little bit? I know you've worked with so many people to help them get started with ads about what you would say to someone who is feeling a little bit like that and how you make it
Sure.
so easy for them to get started.
Yeah. Here's one thing that I will offer. I know that people have, there's like, there's two, like you said, like there's two elements to it, right? There's this element of like, oh my gosh, if I spend the money, I'm going to be visible, right? And the other side of it is like, oh my gosh, should I spend money to be visible because maybe I'm not making as much as I think I should? Or what if I spend $10 and make zero, right? And from a visibility perspective, the thing that I want to offer is this was a hard one for me, but like people don't care as much as you think. They just don't. Like, people don't care. Like maybe I get 1 or 2 haters a quarter, really. And I mean, we spend a lot on advertising. Our impression is very high. We've reached millions of people. Just to clarify, that means like millions of people have seen our ad, not clicked, and we don't have a million email lists, but like a lot of people see our ads. Most of the time, someone's like, "You suck." That's the worst. 90% of the time, someone's like, "This is great. This is awesome." And it's part of having done it for like 10 years. I've been doing this over a decade. And a big part of it is just like people don't care as much as you think. Like we have created this narrative like we all have our own main character energy and the reality is like you're the only main character in your story. Like if I was like, "Oh, think of like the most recent person you sent a messenger like a message to on Facebook, personal friend, like don't even go into the business world and be like, "What's the last thing they posted?" You probably don't even know. There's always an exception, but for the most part, if you think about the last few people you've interacted with, like you probably don't even know the last thing they posted online. Partially because organic reach is not great, but Partially because we're not really paying as much attention as people think we're paying attention, as we think others are paying attention. So,
Mhm.
in terms of visibility, give yourself permission to be like, most people aren't even paying attention. The mass majority of your visibility is going to fall on people who don't engage, and that's okay. Find solace in that. And then the other thing I tell people from a spending money to make money perspective, here's the thing. It's a little tongue in cheek, but you can't lose money on advertising because the old school kind of thought around advertising is like dollar in for dollar out. If I spend $1, I need to make $2. But when you really get down to brass tacks, advertising is about paid visibility. And so you are guaranteed, if you spend $5 on ads, I guarantee you will reach more people than if you spent $0, right? Varies. We won't get into the intricacies of the stats, but just understand like if you spend $10, like you're going to reach people, right? And so you can't lose money because you're not paying for leads, you're not paying for sales, you're not paying for clicks, you're paying for visibility. And so what you do with that visibility, yeah, that can feel stressful and a little overwhelming at times, for sure, no doubt. But it never hurts your business to be seen, right? So like yes, there's the visibility piece, but there's also this piece of understanding like I'm willing to venture that most people who are like, oh, I'm not sure about visibility, we are the same people. It's no judgment. It's what I used to do, who are like, oh, no one's watching my stories. Oh, no one's watching my reels. Why am I not going viral? I'm posting on Instagram every day and I'm not getting clients. It's like, yeah, 100%, because organic reach is not what it used to be. So just try to think of it in terms of like, I'm paying for visibility. What I do with that visibility may require some analysis, some data, introspection and looking at the numbers. And then like what we do in terms of like you had said like that we make it easy, which I really appreciate. That's very kind. What we do to make it easy is help you understand that this is at its core a foundational new language to you, right? It's like we are trying to this sounds so hokey, but it's like we're like the Duolingo for new advertisers, right? Because it's just all we're doing is plugging you into really simple stuff. So we strip away a lot of the complexities, which is things like the pixel and specific tracking and custom audiences. You don't need to worry about that to start growing your list. Now, do we teach that stuff in our advanced trainings? Absolutely. But like foundationally, when we start teaching people ads, we teach them about what are called instant form ads, where like you don't even need a landing page, you don't even need a website. You set up your form and your landing page on Facebook. We give people copy templates and AI scripts that they can give to ChatGPT or Claude, take your pick, and it will kick out copy that you can kind of massage and put into your ads. We give you Canva templates. We give you a 40 to 50-minute tutorial that walks you through how to set up the ads inside of some of our trainings. And it's like, this is what I tell people. It is a new language, right? And so I think the one thing we do really well, if I was going to toot my own horn, is like, yeah, we give you the templates, we give you the process, we give you everything that you need to do it. But what I think our secret weapon is that we create a really empowering community that like lets you know you can do this, right? It's not, there's no gatekeeping, there's no secret to running successful ads. Here is the real secret, like I think, to running successful ads is write copy, write images, or design images, put them in the ads manager using a really simple flow, and then see if it works. If it works, now you have good data. If it doesn't work, now you have good data too. And you tweak and you refine and you iterate. And what you will come to find is that just like with any other language, the first time you read it, you're going to be like, okay, I can ask where the bathroom is. And then, 2, 3, 4, 10 years down the road, you're going to be like, I'm fluent. And so that's what we really do. Yes, we give you the tools. Yes, we make it simple, but we really empower people to know our philosophy is shoot for B minus. As long as you set some really fundamental things in place, you're not going to mess up ads. You're going to get leads and you're going to get more leads than you would have had you never gone into the ads manager to begin with. So,
You're so right because it can feel daunting. Like, oh, what if I mess it up?
yeah,
You can always turn it off. You can always start a new ad. Like, you
yes,
just figure it out as you go. And then you start to see the data come through. And it takes all of the guesswork and the storytelling and oh, people don't like my thing. And it's like, well, you don't know that, but the data will tell you
yes,
which piece you need to work on to make it better. I think that's
yes.
really cool.
Exactly. And to your point, I think that's so cool. Like the thing about organic social media is that we sometimes like we create a narrative in our own head of like, oh, that must have been a really bad post because no one commented. And like maybe it was like, especially for like I'm like wildly insomniac sometimes. And so like I'm like,
Mm.
what a great post. And I'll post it at 2 in the morning and I'll be like, that felt so inspired. Why did nobody reply? And then like 3 weeks later, I'll be like, oh, maybe because it was 2 in the morning and it had nothing to do with the copy or the creative or the hook, or I did it on like a holiday because I wasn't thinking about it, you know?
Mhm.
But with ads, you know you're getting the views. And so you can really look at that data very critically to go, it is the copy or it's not the copy, it is the image or it's not the image. And I am like find weird comfort in data. So
Absolutely. It just takes all the emotion out of it, I think, because
yeah.
you just go, oh, I can see exactly where, I need to work on my hook or I need to work on the creative based on the results that are coming
Yeah,
through from
exactly.
Ads Manager. For people who are putting either a lot of time and energy into creating organic, so blog posts, Instagram posts, doing the stories, doing the carousels. I mean, a carousel will take me sometimes 4 hours to create. And I get 20 likes. Whereas back 10 years ago, when Instagram was just starting out,
Viral. You can go
you
viral with
you get
carousels.
thousands, thousands of likes off like a
Crazy.
really crap piece of content. Can you talk a little bit about, obviously there is like some importance to still having a bit of organic,
Sure.
but why ads are a better use of resources, especially for solopreneurs who are juggling so many balls in their business?
Sure. So I think there's three things to touch on. Number one is that ads work when you can't, don't, or won't. So, like for someone like me, I struggle with consistency. People think I'm really consistent because I send email. I'm really consistent with email, but like if you actually look at our podcast feed, I'm like notorious for missing a week of the podcast. I keep like I'm always like, we're gonna do YouTube, and then we go like 4 videos in a row, and then I forget to post for like 2 months. I'm terrible at Instagram stories. But here's the thing, no matter what I do personally in terms of organic social, my ads are always running. So I'm technically always putting social content out that is guaranteed to be seen. So that's the first thing. When I can't, don't, or won't, my organic content is still going. Second thing is that organic reach is down. Like we can play the game, yeah, we can play the game, which is like, oh, well, this week it's reels and next week it's carousels. I just got an email from somebody who actually really like, and of course I got sucked right in because we all do. That was like, here's the next best piece of Instagram content. It was carousels. Like carousels are outpacing reels, and I was like, literally found myself in Canva 10 minutes later, like I'm gonna make a carousel, and then I was like, but why? I'm not doing that. Not that it's bad or wrong, but here's the thing, like when it comes to organic content, I know it's not going to get the same reach that paid content is going to get. And so, is it bad to do it? No. But when I'm relying on something that's unstable, the basis of what I'm doing isn't predictable, right? So, for most people listening to this, if you're like the upper 1% of social media with like 10K, 20K, 50K followers, you might be like, no, I can pretty predictably see what's going to happen. For those of us in like that 1 to 10K range of followers or even less, when we post, we really don't know what's going to happen. We're PMP, we're posting and praying, and so I'm just like, I don't want to do that all the time. Am I going to post when I feel inspired? Am I going to post when I have a good piece of content? If I think of a great story or I take a good photo and I'm like, oh, here's a good like, little thing to go with it. Absolutely. But if I, just to kind of reiterate, if I'm relying on something unstable, then my results are not predictable. If I'm relying on something that I can measure, then my results become manageable. So that's the second thing. And then the third piece is ads make your organic stronger. So we don't really do anything to grow our Instagram. And I would say our Instagram probably grows, the one right now probably grows like 1,500 people a year, which again is really not that much. We had an Instagram, they shut it down. Fun story. We don't really know why. We had like 10K followers, 9,600 would have been a 10K, but it's
How
fine. I'm not bitter.
annoying.
I'm not bitter at all. But here's the thing. When you run ads, people follow and engage with your content. When they follow and engage with your content, your organic content goes further. So if you are someone who's like, yeah, but I still want to do organic, 100%. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you're advertising, you're also going to have your organic reach go further. I know that there's this like very tinfoil hat, no judgment, wearing conspiracy that's like, oh, if I advertise, my organic reach will go down. My organic reach has only gone up since I started advertising. I think sometimes when we advertise, what I've noticed is that people get flippant about their organic because they're like, well, my ads will do it. So I'll just throw something up. And that tends to be why organic reach goes down. But essentially, here is the big thing to keep in mind. Number one, it becomes predictable. Number two, it will post when you won't, don't, or can't. And then it amplifies what you're already doing organically. So there's just so much benefit to layering advertising on top of organic or in addition to organic.
That's so great. I love that. in terms of like someone who was maybe listening to you and going, okay, maybe this is something that I want to do because of the fact, like I've seen this, and you get the notification now when new followers come from an ad, like such and such, it's
Yes.
followed you from an ad.
From an
And
ad.
that's
It's so
like
good.
all of like 90% of my
All of them for
followers are
me.
coming from. So it's not only doing that, I've also started having my final call to action on my lead form to my YouTube. So it's growing my YouTube as well. So that
Yes.
one ad that is maybe costing me $1 per person is also expanding my reach across multiple platforms and multiple ways, like touch points. And we know
Yes.
in 2025 that touch points are so important for building that
Yes.
rapport with our audience. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there was a really great article actually in The Atlantic that talked about what's called the trust recession. And I
Mm.
think it's such a poignant conversation to have. And it's exactly what you're talking about, which is that people don't just inherently trust that something on the internet is going to work for them anymore. Like, go figure, right? We called it like jokingly like the gold rush of online marketing was like 2013 to 2016, like kind of in that range. And then we saw a resurgence when COVID hit, like late 2020 into 2022 when like everybody was online. You couldn't go to work. All there was to do was to TikTok and buy things with your credit card on the internet. And so we saw lots of, influx of people engaging. But the reality is because we had that influx in 2020 to 2022, now people are getting skeptical. People are getting savvy. Markets are getting saturated. And so there's a real recession of trust, right? What that means for us is that we have to build rapport with people if we want them to work with us. Okay.
Mhm, mhm.
So the reason that I mention all of that is essentially what you're saying is it is multiple touch point. And so when we advertise, we're not just saying run ads to your paid offer. You can, it's harder than it used to be. And I know everybody loves to sell the dream of like, just run ads to your low ticket product and you'll be a millionaire. You won't. Name someone who's doing it that's not selling you on how to do it. That's all I'm going to say about that. Um, but here's the thing. You want to get people on your list. You want to continue to market to them to what we were just saying, both organically, both through email, both through advertising, build a relationship with people, and then they're more likely to buy from you, right? And there's also this extension of advertising and touch points, which is like, this is such a beautiful illustration of that. Is like, we reached out to our audience and said, hey, we're going to do this promotion. Who wants to share it? We sent out information. You replied and said, like, yeah, let's do this interview and you can talk about I won't spoil it. You can talk about something. And then, we also get now the borrowed authority from you and your audience that amplifies my audience. And then, not, admittedly, total benefit for us. But then you also get us on your show. And so there becomes this dynamic crossover where if somebody recognizes me on your side, it builds trust. If someone recognizes you on my side, it builds trust. And it just creates such this beautiful symbiotic relationship that sometimes I think, especially with advertising and even touch point, like talk, we forget that like the touch points, I like to almost think of them as like having a ripple effect.
Mhm,
Every touch point ripples out, right?
mhm.
And so I have people who come to me that are like, oh, my friend so and so sent you. And like, and this sounds so bad as I'm saying it, but I'm like, I don't know who that is, right? And I don't mean it in like a negative way, but
No.
like I had somebody reach out a couple weeks ago that was like, oh, Stacy and so sent me to you. And I was like, I have no idea who that is. Well, it turns out Stacy so and so had literally bought like one of our $25 products and like we'd never emailed, we never talked. They were in our Facebook community. But that is the value of touchpoint marketing. It also creates like a referral affiliate network of people who are going to share your content. So I think between the trust recession and the value of impacting people with content,
Mhm.
that is like the big conversation to have is like, you're not just going to run an ad on Monday, make $1 million on Wednesday, and then, go to the Maldives on Friday. You're needing to step into this era of advertising where you need to build true interpersonal relationships with people and both from a client side, an ad side, and a content side.
Oh, I love that. Can I just, before I've got one more question that I just
Yeah,
have to ask off the back of what you just
please.
said. Do you think now, because of all of this, then the trust recession, and I've been talking a little bit about this as well, that then puts everyone on kind of a level playing field now to a certain extent in terms of like
Yes.
the little guys, the solopreneurs, the people who are just starting out, who maybe never done ads before, they have as much of an opportunity to build trust with a new audience than everybody
Yes.
else does.
Yes. And I'll even see your level playing field and raise you one, which is I think in a sea of sameness, it's always easy to stand out.
Mm.
I think sometimes we think, oh my gosh, it's so saturated, it's so busy. And what saturation and busyness and loud and hard to stand out says to me is everyone's doing the same thing,
Mm.
right? We like if you imagine everybody in your audience posting on Instagram, like we kind of know what it looks like in our space, right? Like no judgment, but we know what it looks like. If you do a carousel in the online marketing space, dollars to donut, it's either the same background image with the little text bubbles on every single slide for 20 slides, because 20 slides get more reach, or it's the notes, the little notes app carousel, right?
Mhm.
And so I'm not judging. It's okay. Like we all do this. We ride trends. It's okay. But what happens is most people ride trends and then somebody else rides the trend. And now everyone looks the same, right? The cool thing is, if everyone is blue and you show up wearing red, you will stand out. And I think sometimes we think that means we need to do something like radical, like, oh, everyone's selling $1,000 course, so I'm going to do it for $1. Like, it doesn't have to be that radical. This sound like I know this is a little tangent, but I think it'll illustrate the point so well. We set up an automated webinar funnel for one of our programs, and all we did was put the replay static on the sales page. So you opted in to watch it. It was sitting on the sales page, and there was no, you could access the controller. Like you could access the playback controller. And so what that meant was you could opt into an on-demand webinar. You didn't have to wait till the 15 to watch it. You had instant access to it. You could scroll through it and you could see the whole offer before you decided if you wanted to watch the webinar. Highest converting evergreen webinar we've ever had.
Wow.
Offer, very similar. Webinar, very similar. Content, almost the same. Landing page, similar to what you typically see. But that differentiator was just like, what's everyone doing that we can do different? So we added the playback controller. We asked, what is it that people really want that people aren't currently doing? And we leaned into that. So
Yeah.
to your point, yeah, everyone's doing automated webinars. But for us, it was easy to additionally stand out because if you just act or do something slightly different, it
Mm.
stands out really well right now. So when markets get saturated, I think it's such a beautiful opportunity that the playing field is level because all you have to do is just be slightly different, be yourself, show up as you are, and add your flavor, and you will stand out.
Yeah, that's so great. And I think it's just like do the thing that you wish other people would do as well, because
Yes.
your audience is going to probably respond to that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Do the thing that you're like, am I overcomplicating this or am I doing something because like I always put something through the filter of, am I doing this because somebody said it would work? And then did they say it would work because it's like a marketing strategy or did they say they it would work because it's like a clear principle? So like for example, when we run ads, we're like split test your audience. That's very clearly like a marketing principle. You need to split test your ads. That's not, for me at least, not really a negotiable, right?
Yeah.
But if I was like, oh, green works so good in ads because it's high contrast to the Facebook blue, so always use lime green. And like, you just kind of, we all do this, but we wake up, so to speak, one day and we're like, why is everything I'm doing lime green? Like, it's one little thing we pick up and we run with it.
Yeah.
And so if you find yourself doing the lime green things, that's
Mhm.
where I would be evaluating the opportunity to do something different.
So great. So I said I had one more question, but now I really have one more question
I love
because
it.
I know there's going to be people who you've gotten excited about ads who've never thought about it before. And they're
Yes.
probably thinking to themselves, how many or thousands of dollars a month is this going to cost me to start getting in
Yeah.
front of my audience and promoting my
Yeah.
freebie?
I would say $300 to $500 a month is a really good place to start.
Yeah.
And typically we like to spend 10 to 20% of our overall revenue on advertising. We're very aggressive advertisers. You can get away with like 5 to 10% if you're doing organic and you have other marketing channels. I rely pretty heavily on advertising. So I'm like, I'd rather spend the money and go to Europe than I would spend half the money and like meet with a creative design team. No judgment. Creative design is amazing. I just hate social media. Ironic, I know. So yeah, $300 to $500 a month is like a really safe place to be. Typically, you want to spend about $100 to $150 testing your ads to kind of launch off, and then about $10 to $15 a day is what it breaks down to.
Awesome. So, in terms of the lime green, everyone's following that. Can you talk now a little bit about your ads bootcamp that you have coming up and why it
Yes.
is really going to help people like learn the fundamentals. But I'm just going to say my favorite thing about it is the way that you break it down so it's not overwhelming. Each day you work on a different piece. But I want to get you to talk a little bit about
Yes. Oh my
the
gosh, I have to tell you, I
business.
was so excited because I thought, did you do the one in this last January by chance?
I didn't, but
Thought you
this.
were gonna say my favorite part was the Taylor Swift theme, so I was like really gonna geek out for
Oh,
a
I saw
second.
the
But
ads though, definitely.
okay, no, it's okay. I'll come back to it. So we have our 5-day Facebook and Instagram ads for list building bootcamp. It's a tongue twister. And what it is it's a 5-day process. It's $25 to join, and we're gonna take you step by step through everything you need to know to write, create, install, manage, optimize, and ongoing support your Facebook ads specifically to grow your email list. So the way it breaks down is on the first day, we're going to give you image templates, AI prompts, copy frameworks that you can plug into to actually create your Facebook ad. Tuesday, we install them in the ads manager together. All of it recorded, of course. You retain access for a year to all of the recordings. Day 3, I've been jokingly saying is like the last day of school. So, like you go to school the last day and like you have to show up because you're kind of like invested at that point, but like you really just watch a movie. It's kind of like that. We're going to talk at you a little bit, just kind of talk about where does list building fit into the bigger picture of advertising? Because you might be like, well, yeah, I want to grow my list, but really I want to sell my products. Trust me, you still want to grow your list, but we're going to talk about how that feeds into what I call the new way of advertising. Fourth day, we're going to look at your results from the ads you've been running and really start to optimize everything to improve and enhance the results you're getting. And then the last day is kind of like next steps, some cool things you can do with ads, and then ongoing support. And full disclosure, we do have an offer at the end. It's our $67 a month membership. And here is why I mentioned that, not because you need to be invested in a membership at this point, but because look, like I said, in a sea of sameness, it's easy to stand out. Number one, we're going to just tell you the offer. And number two, we guarantee that by the end of the week, if you follow along, you will unequivocally generate 50 to 100 new leads. Okay. Now, we do have a 14-day money back guarantee. So if you start Monday, April 28th, and you get to, I should know what day of the week it is, but I don't. I think it's May 9th. If you get to May 9th and you're like, oh my gosh, I did that whole thing and I ran them for an extra week and I'm not happy, we'll give you a full refund. We charge $25 to be blunt because more people show up. We know that when we charge a small fee, we've split tested the data that people show up. And if you show up, like 3 things happen. One, you're more likely to take action. I'm more likely to get great case studies, and everybody is more likely to continue into the membership because they're happy with their results and they see the potential. It builds faith in you, it builds faith in me, and it builds faith in Facebook ads. So all of that to say, that's the 5-day Facebook and Instagram ads for list building bootcamp. And because I teased it, we do have a theme. Every time we do our bootcamp, we've done some really fun ones like iconic things of 2023, which we did like the Barbie movie, Stanley tumblers. We've done Taylor Swift theme. This one is going to be When You Wish Upon a Lead, which is like really, really exciting. I can't give away too much, but we always do a theme with prizes and all kinds of fun stuff. So it's very immersive. It's very fun because I know that I'm geeking out about Facebook ads, but not everybody geeks out quite to the same degree. So we like to keep it light, fun, and engaging for you guys too.
Making it a fun event is like when you're getting into it, it feels like a hard thing. It feels like, as you said,
Yeah.
like learning a brand new language. It's something that most people have never done before, or even realized getting into their business that that was something they were going to have to learn. But once you get into it and you start seeing the results, it gets so exciting. So I love that you've got a theme.
Yes.
And I have a feeling I can guess from the name of it what the theme
Yeah, I can't say much more
is.
yet, but you'll want to be there.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with anyone who might be sitting on the fence or thinking about coming along to the boot camp that you'd like
Yeah.
to finish us off with today?
Absolutely. Here's what I will tell you. This is, I will toot my own horn, the best training you can get for $25 for Facebook and Instagram ads. My favorite testimonial, and we get it every single time. I'm paraphrasing, but it's essentially along the lines of like, I have paid way more for way less. And
Mm.
so we really put the effort in because we actually like lose money on the front of the boot camp. We make money because people love it and join the membership. Even we have affiliates for our boot camp. We pay out 100% of the $25 join fee to our affiliates, which like hopefully I'm not giving away too much of the insider secrets, but it's like I tell you that because I want you to understand the $25 really is for buy-in, and then we are going to give you such a stellar experience that if you're sitting here being like, I don't know, it's like it's the curse of when, right? Like I'll run ads when, and it's like it's not gonna change, you know? It's like Organic's not going to get easier. Like maybe a new platform will come along, like instead of TikTok, like TokTik will come along and you'll be able to go viral for 3 months. And then fast forward 2 years, we'll be in the same place. We'll be in between platforms. You may not have the organic reach you want. And so, yeah, I get it. It's like when here, when then, but don't get caught in the curse of when. Throw the 25 bucks in, give it a shot. We have a money back guarantee. You're going to absolutely love the theme. Like, if for nothing else, come for that. But we guarantee you're going to get the leads if you take the action, and we're going to do everything we can. I'm in there. I hire a copywriter for the week to come in and edit your copy. We review your creative. We're in there a lot. That is like it's literally a full-time job for 3 people on my team that manage this just to create success for you. So I want you to have a stellar experience because if you have a stellar experience, you're happy, I'm happy, and the business grows. And so everybody wins. So yeah, if you're thinking about it, don't get caught in the curse of when. Check it out. We'd love to have you and we'd love to support you.
I'm so glad that you finished with that because the when is always the biggest thing, I think. I'll do this when I figure out who my audience is. I'll do this when I figure out the best opt-in. And you kind of teach all of that during the week, I think, as
Yes.
well. So it's a perfect starting point, even if you're just curious, I think. And honestly, I say it all the time, Zach is the first person I learned ads from. And still to this day, the breaks it down the simplest and makes it so easy to consume and give it a go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Zach. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Oh,
It's so great to
good.
meet you and get to have a chat with you today and geek out about ads with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
I'll pop all the details for the boot camp below and all the dates and everything so you can check that out too. Thank you again, Zach, and I can't wait for the boot camp to start so we can all check out this awesome theme you've got.
Thank you.